Hey everyone, I know it's been a while, but I am back with another video, and this time we'll be doing a fill-in and repair. So this is what her nails look like 3 weeks later. As you can see, they still look good. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and remove her bling, and for that I'm using a pair of nippers. Alrighty, and for this thumb, as you can see, there is a crack right in the middle of the nail, so I went ahead and cut it down, and I'm going to file it down so I can soak it off. And then I'm also going to have to do that to the index finger because it had a little cut or a little split on the side, and it's always better to just go ahead and replace the nail instead of trying to save it, because most likely it's still gonna break eventually. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the bling on the other hand as well, and then I'm gonna remove the gel polish. And to remove the gel polish, I'm gonna be using a coarse drill bit, which is a safety drill bit, because it is really coarse. You want to make sure that you use a safety one to make sure that you don't cut your client, because like I said, it's really coarse. So make sure that you use a safety drill bit if you're using a coarse one. And I'm going to use that to remove the gel polish. So as you can see on the side, it's cracked, so that's why I'm going to go back and just go ahead and cut it down and file it down. And to file it down, I'm still using my coarse drill bit. So to soak them off, I'm going to be using a cotton ball, acetone, and then this little clip. So as you guys know, you get a piece of cotton ball, you soak it in acetone, and then you just put the clip over it and just let it soak. And you want to do this at the beginning, that way they're soaking while you're doing the rest of the nails. So once again, I'm using my coarse drill bit to remove the gel polish. Alrighty, so now I'm going in with my Tammy Taylor peel and stick cuticle pusher, and we are just pushing those cuticles back. And after this, I'm going to go in with my fine drill bit, only because with the safety drill bit, I wasn't able to just get some of that gel polish off. So with this one, I'm just going back and making sure that all the gel polish is completely removed, because we don't want to see it through our acrylic. So after this, we're going to go in with a sanding band and a 180 sanding band, and we're just going to remove the shine from the natural nail. Remember, this step is really important. You want to make sure that all the shiny part is off the nail, because if not, you will have lifting. So make sure you get really close to that cuticle area. And even if you have to dust the nails off, and if you see any shiny parts off, just come back and file the nail again, because you don't want to get any lifting at all. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna go back to the nails that I'm soaking off, and with my coarse drill bit, I'm just gonna remove some of that acrylic that's already soaked off. That way, this kind of just speeds up the process a little bit. Alrighty, so now I'm just going in with my OPI primer, which is my Bondex, and you want to make sure you use a primer that matches your acrylic system, which I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system. But remember, the only reason why I use the OPI primer is because I have a lot of it. So as you can see, I place my first bead closer to the cuticle area, I pat it down, and then I brush it down towards the tip, and then I'm applying another bead closer to the tip just to make sure that it's nice and thick. And you want to make sure that you don't just apply a lot of acrylic everywhere, because you would just have a big thick nail, and then you will have a lot of filing to do at the end. So you place your bead down closer to the cuticle area, pat it down, make sure that if you get any acrylic over on a cuticle area that you wipe it off quickly, because if not, it will get on the skin and it will be nearly impossible to take off, and most likely you will have lifting. So make sure you clean around that cuticle area really good. And whenever you brush the acrylic down towards the tip, make sure you're not brushing too hard. You do want to keep your stress area, which is where the nail gets its strength from. So you place your bead down and you just literally just feather it down. Like, you don't want to brush too hard, because you want most of that product to stay right there where you're placing it in the first place. So for this, once again, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system, and then I'm also using my Alpha brush in a number 9, and this is a new brush. They just sent it to me while I was on vacation. When I got home, I had it in the mail, so it is the same number 9 brush that I was using before. They just sent me a new one. And then after this, we're going to move on to the other hand. So remember, you put your bead down close to the cuticle area and just brush it down, and just add acrylic as you need it. If you have to look at your nail from different angles, that is perfectly fine, because that's what I do. Just look at your nail from different angles, and if your tip is too thin, or if you don't have a good stress area, then just go back and add some. But just look at what you're doing. That way you're not just adding unnecessary product. Alrighty, so now we're going to go back to the 2 nails that we have to repair. I'm going to file off the remainder of the soaked off acrylic, and I'm going to push back the cuticles, file the nail, and then we're going to remove the shine from the natural nail as well, and we're going to do the same thing to the thumb. Make sure that you get all of that acrylic off, because if not, the nail tip would not stick on really good over the acrylic. Okay, so now we're going to apply our nail tips. So remember, whenever you're applying your nail tips, the biggest number of the tips is the smallest nail, and the smallest number, which is the number 0, is your biggest tip. So usually your number like 4 or 5 or 6 will be your index finger, your middle finger, and your ring finger, and then your thumb will usually be like a 0, 1, or 2, or sometimes even a 3, and then your pinky will most likely be a number 9 or a 8, and sometimes some tips have a 10, and that's like the smallest tip. So you want to make sure that you cut them to the desired length, or that they match the other hand. And yes, I did accidentally do the wrong colored tip, but I asked her if she wanted me to go ahead and change it, because I was going to take them off and do the clear tips, and she said it was okay. So don't judge me on that. It was an accident. We were having a conversation and I totally forgot. So we're shaping the nails, and then we're gonna blend them right in the middle. And for this, I'm using my 100 nail file, and like I said, we're gonna blend it right in the middle so it looks a little bit more natural. And after this, we're just gonna apply the primer, and then we're gonna apply the acrylic. Okay, so now I'm going in with my same 100 nail file to reshape the nails, and this is just to redefine that shape. As you can see, we already have that coffin shape, but we want to make sure that we have like the perfect shape. So yeah, we're using a 100 nail file just to redefine that shape. And make sure that when you file the nail tip, the key to getting a really straight nail is to file at a 90 degrees angle when you're filing the nail tip. That way it's really straight. Alrighty, so after we finish reshaping the nails, we're going to go in with our fine drill bit, and we're just following the acrylic. So remember, you want to make sure that you use something that's not too coarse, because you don't want to file too much acrylic off. You just want to make sure that they are nice and even, and we want to seal that cuticle area really good. So remember, you want to file from one side to the other until you're able to see where their natural nail is, where the cuticle is, and where the acrylic is. That way you know that the acrylic is not on the cuticle area. And you also don't want to leave the drill bit in one spot for too long, because it will cause friction and it will cause their nail to burn. So make sure that you always keep your drill bit moving and don't leave it in one spot for too long. Another thing is, you don't want to file too much to the point where it looks like it's time for them to have a feel. Just file enough to where you're sealing that cuticle area. And if you're still having problems with having lifting, then most likely you're not doing this correctly, because remember, no matter how good you're doing everything else, if you're not filing really good, then you will still have lifting. I promise you that's what it is. I had that problem, and until I got this down packed, I was still having lifting. So be careful and make sure that you're doing this correctly. You don't want to have any acrylic on the skin, because that will cause your nail to lift. And then also is just prepping the nail. You want to make sure you prep the nail correctly, but I feel like a lot of it comes from this. If you're not filing the nail correctly, then you will still have lifting. So as you can see, I use the tip of the drill bit to file around the cuticle area, and then I use like the whole drill bit to file the rest of the nail. And if you are a beginner, you will have a little bit more filing to do, because you will have more acrylic on the nail, just because you still don't really have the hang of it. But if you are a little bit more advanced, then you won't have a lot of filing to do, because you kind of, have it down and you know how much product to use. But if you do have more filing to do, then just make sure you feel on the nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth. And usually I rub my finger over the nail to make sure, or also you can look at it from different angles and you'll be able to see. So whenever you see me lifting the nail, that's what I'm doing, looking for bumps or lumps. And now I'm going in with a buffer to make sure that they are nice and smooth. And I also rub my finger over the top of the nail when I'm doing this to make sure that I don't feel any bumps or lumps. If you don't file the nail, or if you don't buff the nail, you will be able to see the scratches through the polish. So you want to make sure that the nail is nice and smooth. After this, we're going to just dust the nails off and wipe them off with an alcohol wipe. And then we're going to start the polish application. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in with this Color Club polish in the color Just My Luck, which is a really pretty silver holographic polish, and I use this one for all of my bling nails. After that, we're going to go in with our D&D Lemon Juice Gel Polish, and there is a website that sells them for like $6, so I will leave the link in the description. But they come with the dual pack, which is the regular polish and the gel polish, for only, I believe it's $6. It's either $6 or $6.50, but they're really cheap and the bottles are pretty big. And I'm also using this French Vanilla, which is also by D&D, which is a really pretty nude color. And once again, both of them are gel polishes. And then to clean around the cuticle area, I'm going to be using one of my OPI gel brushes, which you could also use to clean up around the cuticle area. And you really can use any little brush that you have to clean around the cuticle area. It doesn't have to be a specific kind. Alrighty, so after this we're going to go in and cure this hand for 30 seconds, and then we're going to move on to the other hand, which will be using the same colors, this Color Club polish and the color Just My Luck, our lemon juice polish, and our French vanilla. Alrighty, so we're going to cure that hand for 30 seconds, and then we're going to go back and do a second coat on both hands. Alrighty then, for this nail I'm going back in with my gel polish in the color Lemon Juice. I'm drawing a line straight down the nail, and then with my OPI brush I'm going to go back and clean up that line to make sure that it's nice and straight. And what I did was I dipped the little brush into a little bit of acetone, not to where it's soaking but just to where it's a little wet, and I just go back and clean up the sides to make sure that it's straight. And after this we're going to go back and clean around the cuticle area to make sure that that area is nice and neat as well. Alrighty, so for this pinky we're going to apply bling all over it. So I'm using my Mia Secret Gel Resin, which is a glue, and then I'm using my wax pencil, my SS6 and my SS12, and we're just going to apply them all over the nail. Remember, when you're doing this you want to make sure that you alternate from different size, which once again I'm using SS6 and SS12, and it's kind of like a puzzle. You just fill it in with the two different sizes. And for this ring finger, we're going to apply some bigger pieces. So I'm using some builder gel, and then I'm going to apply the bigger pieces, and I'm using that same wax pencil to pick up these bigger pieces. And I did get these from eBay. I'll try to look for the link to them, and I'll leave it down in the description. And then I'm also going to be applying some of the regular bling, and for that I'll be using the same Mia Secret gel resin. So now I'm going to apply one of these other pieces which were on my website. And just a reminder, my website is still down. I haven't had time to do any restocking. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but as you guys know, I was just gone for 2 weeks and I just have not had time to sit down and work on my website, but it will be up pretty soon. I'll keep you guys updated. But anyways, I'm applying the little gold caviar around the big pieces, and then I'm gonna apply another piece which I believe it's called the horse eye shoe, or no, horse eye, that's what it's called, the horse eye. And then I'm gonna also apply the gold caviar around it. Once again, I'm using my Mia Secret gel resin, and it is a glue. I know I always have a lot of people asking me if you have to cure it. No, you do not have to cure the Mia Secret gel resin. It's just like a gel like glue. But I do use the Mia Secret gel resin activator, which is a spray that helps the glue dry a little bit faster, which works miracles, because that's the only thing about the Mia Secret gel resin. It do take a little bit longer to dry, but with the spray it literally dries instantly. So I highly recommend that you get this spray along with the glue. Okay, then we are going to have to cure this nail because it did have the builder gel, which does have to be cured, and that's the one I use for the bigger bling. As you can see, they're still moving around. So we're going to do something similar to that on this hand, except for we're just doing one piece right in the middle with the gold caviar around it, and then a couple of the SS6 rhinestones. Okay, then for this middle finger, we're going to go in with our same Mia Secret gel resin, and then I'm using my SS6 and my SS12 bling, and we're just going to fill the whole nail up with these. Remember, just alternate from the 2 different sizes, and it's like a puzzle. You just filling the little gaps with the different sizes, and you just do that all over the nail. And as you guys see, I start right in the middle of the nail, closer to the cuticle area. I work my way around the perimeter of the nail, and then I just work my way towards the center. And you don't have to do it this way. This is just what I got used to doing. Alrighty, so I'm just applying a few more rhinestones on the thumb and then on her index finger, I believe. And then after that, we're going to apply the Mia Secret Gel Resin Activator, which, like I said before, is just a spray that literally dries the glue into place. And then after that, we're going to go in with our IBD gel top coat. Okay, so I'm applying my IBD gel top coat, and then we're going to cure each hand for 60 seconds. Alrighty, y'all, so this is the final look. They turned out beautiful. That lemon juice color is just beautiful, and it looks great with the French vanilla. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNailed32, and I'll see you guys next time.